Walking Macau Streets. Dear Lord, show me a sign. Give me a map. Oh yeah.
Years old, died in 1857. So right around this time, I believe Morrison, we're going to see his grave in here as well. But there was Protestants, Beverly, Massachusetts. There's a lot of them from Massachusetts. I have been in here before. So. Okay, so I'm going to walk over in that part and then I'll kind of tell you about the cemetery. So basically, St. Anthony's Church is over that way, over that side. We're in the Casa Garden, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into this little space right in here. But before we even go down, this is the Casa Garden that we're going to not highlight, but we are going to highlight this little cemetery right in here. And it's also kind of part of it because there's the Camoish Gardens. And we're going to see a lot of gravestones in here that we're going to take a look at. And it's called the Morrison Memorial Chapel and Protestant Cemetery. There's a lot of history in here. A lot of history. So we're gonna walk down and right into that little space and check it all out. Stay tuned. Okay, so this over here is Camoish Park. But I'm going to take you into this little Protestant cemetery. I haven't been here before. It's been a little while. There's a small chapel here, and this was a so there's some people in there right now, but that particular one is Protestant. So most of the city was Catholic. I think I saw somebody just come down here in a minute, but we're just going to bring the camera in and just kind of highlight some of what we see in here. So actually, it's kind of interesting because there's a lot of different names that you don't expect. So 41 years old, died in 1857. So right around this time, I believe Morrison, we're going to see his grave in here as well. But there was Protestants, and there wasn't anywhere for them to be buried at. Oliver Mitchell Seaman. So that one is from the state of Vermont, an American. So the Protestants could be from anywhere. Here's one from New York, Bates. Denmark, Henry Jones, native of Denmark, but a seaman. James West. This one looks like another Scandinavian name, Johann Friedrich. It could be German as well. Yeah, it is German. But you can see different people from all over the place here, right? That they were not Portuguese. Beverly, Massachusetts. There's a lot of them from Massachusetts. I have been in here before, so I've seen some of them before. This one is, so you can see kind of a theme, 1854, 1857. I think that they were, I think Morrison would have been around that same time period. He's the Protestant missionary that everybody is, like they would have built this, and actually this would have been right outside the city as well. Across the street from us is the St. Anthony Church, Scotland, Perth, Scotland. Let's go down this way. Here's one from New York, Utica, New York, John Williams. So that's interesting. He was in Japan 1854, but then he was also connected here in 1857. Here's another German one. Vogel. This was like a Dutch one, I think. So maybe that other one was Dutch as well. There was the one that I thought was Scandinavian. So I think we have a mix of Northern Europeans, Americans. Here's New Hampshire again. Huh. And they're all about 1857s. And I think if I remember right, there's some story that they were brought in. I think they'd been buried like outside the city, the Catholic city. And then this was outside the Catholic city as well. And they brought them in East India Company, Japan Squadron. So kind of interesting. George Chinnery, wow. So this one is George Chinnery. Interesting. He's one of the most famous people in Macau, so he did a lot of watercolors in the city. Okay, so I'm gonna walk over in that part and then I'll kind of tell you about the cemetery. So basically, St. Anthony's Church is over that way, over that side, just outside of Camoish Garden here. And the St. Anthony's, that was the marker of the city. So this would have been outside the city. And the Protestants had to be buried on Chinese lands, basically, which was not acceptable. And they couldn't be buried in the Catholic part because they were not Catholics. So at some point, and this is named after Robert Morrison, he was a prominent minister. Some of them, their bodies were moved and put here, or once this was open, anybody could be here as well. Riddles. Huh. Very British name. Master Mariner, 1856, at 41 years old. We got a lot in here, so, but I don't want to do a long video. French Pedro. Louis Stewart. Livingstone. The Butlers. 1773. So now these ones are older. So I think that these 1777, 75, I think that they would be brought in at a later date. Here's a well that was in here as well. So let me just kind of go through. I don't want to do every single one, but if there's some specific interest in this video, I will come back. But I am kind of giving you a theme of the cemetery and just how it was constructed, who was buried here. Jane Howard, the wife of Captain Thomas Howard. 1849, 1843, 1835, sorry, 1823. Bombay Civil Service. You can actually see a lot of history in here too. So here's one pretty. Okay, so let me let's just kind of move along because I just want to give you the best feel of it that I can. This one, somebody put a lot of money into this particular one. Daniel Beale. I think the Beales, if I remember right, they were involved. They were like merchants, and there was a company called the Beale Company. I think that might have been an American company that, if I remember right, was involved with trade. And I think that some of the people here were, that one in particular, I think might have been involved with opium a little bit. I think the Beale, at that time period, there was that would have been very prominent. Opium, and a lot of people made some pretty big fortunes, and I think the Beales was one of them, but I don't want to say anything that's wrong. So I might not be right about that particular person, might not have any idea at all, but I think there is a lot of references to that in the historically anyways. Bombay, Scotland. Okay, here's one. John Crockett. This is a very large one. Okay, let me just see. But nonetheless, you are getting a feel for. Here's another Massachusetts one. So this is Salem, Massachusetts, 1802. Okay. Okay, so we are going to head on out of here, but at least you have an idea. So, a memorial to the past of Macau. And on that note, I think we're going to end this one, and hopefully there was some little bit of history to be learned, and my respect and condolences to all the families who have connection to the people that passed away and are buried here. So out of pure respect, we are going to exit, and we're going to come out by Casa Garden straight ahead. Then we have the Portuguese church right there. And it's going to bring the camera back out to Camoish Park, just so you can, for people that are interested, you can kind of get an idea of the setup of it. I'm going to walk right out to Camoish Park out here. Now we're at Camoish. Okay. So somebody's looking for this place on the map. It's right here. Try to find this. The Plaza of Luis Camões, the poet. And then there's a park straight ahead. And we have lots of the living among us. And actually that was where we were just at, so we just went inside of that little space right there. And just to come to some kind of conclusion, we're gonna come on out. And now we're kind of at the St. Anthony, so this would have been the marker right here, this church right here, of what would have been Portuguese and Chinese. And now you can see all the Portuguese tiles. And on that note, we're gonna end our video, but maybe something a little bit interesting. $2024. Let's check out Macau. Come on.